Welcome to this webinar. My name is Adam Gordon. I'm going to be presenting this with my colleague Billy McDermott. I'm just going to go back a step and just talk to you a little bit how we got involved in social media as an alternative to outplacement. So 5 years ago when we started our business, it was all about tactical networking, getting our clients connected with the people that they should know from a business development perspective or a strategic networking perspective, or indeed a career opportunities perspective. So clients were asking us to help them get connected with new people because they were looking for the next job opportunity. Around 18 months ago, one of our biggest clients, a big telecoms business, asked us to do some work with them because they had people leaving their business and they needed to understand how to use social media more effectively, how to get connected with people. And they offered it to these people as a direct alternative to traditional outplacement, and quite a large number of them took up that service. Over the last 18 months or so, we've commercialized that, and specifically over the last 6 months, we've been doing a lot more work in this area. So what we're going to talk through is the key things that we do when we're working with one of our clients to help them to use social media to create job opportunities. So the three key things that we're going to cover are, the first one being some of the most important concepts you need to understand about social media, how people are using it, and how that's going to help you create opportunities. The second thing we're going to go on to is how we go about finding everybody on social media and our clients connected with them. I'm sorry, that's a lot of noise in the background here. Billy, would you mind just switching the sound off?
Yeah, no problem.
A second.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Okay, thanks very much. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to talk through the key things that you need to know about in order to understand how social media can help you or help the people that you're supporting. The second thing we're going to do is show you how we go about finding everybody on social media. And then the third thing we're going to talk a bit about is the best ways of making contact, the best ways of presenting yourself and the best ways of making contact. So just moving swiftly into some of the concepts that you need to know about. So here's the most important one. People communicate in different ways. Everybody communicates in different ways, and what that means is that some people like to use the telephone, some people like to use email, some people like face-to-face communication, and some people particularly prefer using social media. What we've seen over the last 5 years is that more and more decision makers, as in the people who might influence you getting a new job or the people you're supporting to get a new job, they are finding that social media is something that they're quite accustomed to. They like using it for a couple of reasons. The first is that they can get some good information about you, whereas from an email or from a cold call, they don't necessarily know very much about you before being plunged into a conversation. The second is, and it's linked to that, is that people therefore can respond in their own time. And again, with some other forms of communication, they have to respond immediately or not get themselves into that situation. So social media is a channel that is proving very popular with decision makers and influencers, and that's one of the reasons that we encourage all professionals to develop some good skills in terms of how to use it, because you're going to get your messages to more people and more effectively. That's not to say it replaces other forms of communication. It doesn't, because some people will absolutely prefer a call and some others will prefer different methods of communication. But we use a lot of NLP type techniques in terms of the communication that we do for our clients. And one of the presuppositions of NLP is that those who have the most flexible skills for getting their messages out to people will get them to the optimum number of people, because they can use all sorts of different channels, social media being one of the most important. So, just to explain a little bit about social media members' behaviour, I ran a poll on LinkedIn, so this is specifically for LinkedIn members, in May 2012, and I asked members, do you accept LinkedIn invitations from people that you don't know? So 1,236 people took part in my poll. Only 6% said no, they don't connect with people they don't know. 18% said they accept every LinkedIn invitation they get. The vast majority, 76%, said they connect with people they don't yet know, but they do it selectively. So the 6%, we can assume that we're not going to hear anything back from them. There could be all sorts of reasons why people choose not to connect with people that they don't know, but we can just discount them as being just a 6% that's a wasted 6%, if you like. The 18% that accept every LinkedIn invitation, again, there can be some real valid reasons for getting connected with everybody. So if you do something whereby anybody could be an audience member for you, then the more people you're connected to, the better. So there can be valid reasons for connecting with everybody. But again, the chances of hearing back from these people are probably quite slim. However, the good news is that the vast majority fit into this 76%, who are people that connect selectively with people that they don't know. So what are the criteria that members use when they're choosing whether or not to connect? From our research, we found that the two key things that people consider are relevance. Is this person relevant to me? As in, have they got shared professional interests? Are they in the same kind of industry? Are they in a similar job sort of discipline? And then the second is around usefulness. So, might this person be useful to me? Doesn't matter if it's immediately, it could be in the future. So, if you make sure that you look relevant and useful, then a lot of these 76% are going to accept your LinkedIn invitation. What does it mean when they accept your LinkedIn invitation? It doesn't mean that they're saying they would like to interview you, they'd like to give you a job opportunity or anything like that. But what it does say is that they're giving you permission to speak to them. So you're several steps ahead in terms of no relationship, no acknowledgement to they're giving you permission to speak to them. So very, very good positive step to take. Next interesting bit of research that we did. So again, we asked LinkedIn members, we asked decision makers, people with budgets, have you used LinkedIn to research an expert? 2/3 of people said yes. We asked them, have you used LinkedIn to search for an expert? 1/3 of them said yes. So that means it's vital that your profile looks compelling, because 2/3 of people will be searching for you, as in decision makers such as talent acquisition managers, or potentially hiring managers, department leaders, those kinds of people. Those same kinds of people, they have used LinkedIn to search for an expert. When you put that into the talent acquisition area, that 1/3 is probably almost 3/3. So it's really important that you get found quickly. Enhancing your network. There's all sorts of different people that are going to be useful for our clients when they're looking for new job opportunities. So I'll give you an example. Finance director at a very large retail business who's just gone through a big merger. We've been working with this guy, and once we went through the initial consultation, the briefing meeting, we worked out there was a number of different categories of people that were going to be useful for him. The first is CFOs and chief executives at businesses that he was interested in working with. Second, in-house talent acquisition leaders, especially executive resourcing type people at those kinds of businesses. The next, he was interested in moving from a PLC environment into a private equity environment. So the business leaders in private equity firms that had investments in retail companies. Others, the executive search people focusing on retail. Other people, the people in professional services, the people in the accountancy firms and the law firms, for example, who work with retail businesses, they're going to find out pretty quickly if a CFO opportunity is going to come up. So there's all sorts of different categories of people that are worthwhile getting connected with on social media. Being where your audience is, this is a really important concept. What it means is thinking about who are the people that you want to get your key messages to, making sure that you're close to them on social media is going to give you real advantages. Different ways of doing that: following them on Twitter on the basis they might follow you back, getting connected with them on LinkedIn, joining the same LinkedIn groups as them, joining the same Google Plus Hangouts. There's all sorts of different things you can do to be where your audience is. Think about the people that you want to communicate with as an audience. The next one, leading conversation. So most people don't do it. Most people just read and just listen to what's going on social media. But every single person learns something new, a real interesting insight every week. If you share that at social media, if you share that at Twitter or LinkedIn, for example, you're going to get the opportunity to demonstrate your expertise, build goodwill from the people you're trying to get your messages to, and that's going to put you up the pecking order when it comes to looking for a new CFO or whatever kind of job you're looking for. So leading conversation is something people don't do, but it's something that's a really powerful activity. Content's a currency. As I said earlier, you learn new things every single week, and if you can package them in a way that gets to the right people, then that would be very advantageous. Here's a real good example. A number of years ago, I joined the McKinsey Quarterly LinkedIn group, and I created this document, LinkedIn Opportunities Guide, things that you can do on LinkedIn. I shared it at the McKinsey Quarterly group because I thought a lot of the members will be my audience. I posted this on June the 6th, 2010. On the 15th of April 2013, I took the screenshot nearly 3 years later, and the 1,730 comments on here. If you can create something that's really interesting, then lots of people are going to want to talk to you about that, and it's going to get you conversations with all the people that you want to talk to. So we're talking to senior professionals about achieving influence and getting to know the people that they should know from a new job perspective. This is one of the techniques that we talk through with them. Being where your audience is, sharing useful things, and that turns into goodwill, and it turns into conversations with the people that you want to talk to. Okay. I'm now going to hand over to Billy, who's going to, I'm not going to talk through this slide because I don't think we need to, but I'm going to hand over to Billy, who's going to talk through some of the key things, the first things that we do when we're doing, when we're searching for people that our clients want to get connected with.
Great. Thanks very much, Adam. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Billy McDermott. I'm the Research and Sourcing Manager here at Social Media Search. So there's a couple of different ways that you can build your network and really drill down in the detail around the type of person and the type of people that you do want to target. I'm going to talk about the two main or the two recommended networks that we would certainly engage with you, certainly engage with our clients with LinkedIn and Twitter. The main reasons why that we use primarily LinkedIn and Twitter for when we work with our clients is due to the diverse range of information and the depth of the data that's available on both these sites. It means you can really find a nice range of people, and your targeting can be very accurate. So you can be very specific about who you're talking to. I'll talk about LinkedIn first of all. There's two different ways you can search on LinkedIn. There's the advanced LinkedIn search. I'm logged into Adam's LinkedIn account, and to access that, you would click on the advanced search tab. That will then bring up your advanced search options for you. I'm in leads, click on people, and I can search on general profile keywords. I could search against name, title, company, location, country, postcode. Make sure that your relationship, when you are searching here, make sure that it is selected to first, second group members and third connections, unless you specifically only want to search for people who are within your network. And within each of these fields, it does support the ability to use what we call Boolean logic. So it's if you go back to your maths days, it's and, ors, and nots. So if I wanted to find someone, say it was a finance director, but say I also wanted to find chief financial officers in the same search, then within the title, I could type in, and I'll be quite specific here, I'll just use specific phrases. I could type in finance director, or I could type in CFO, or I could type in chief financial officer. And within the one search, as soon as I hit search on that, then all the results that will come up on that page will contain one of those job titles, either current or past. To change that to current if I wanted, just to make sure that it's only people who are currently within that role. Ands, ors, and nots are supported in each of the fields here. Keywords, so if you wanted to search for specifics, so if you wanted retail and leisure, then I can type in retail and leisure. It's important just to remember your capital letters when you're doing that. And for example, if I wanted to do retail, but not maybe not a certain company, so say retail, not, I won't pick any specific company names for fear of offending anyone, but say you can tell LinkedIn I don't want results from specific companies by putting a not within there. So that's your basic advanced people search. Depending on the level of LinkedIn membership you have, you've also got some other filters that may or may not be available to you: profile language, years of experience, functionality, that type of thing. And it really, really does depend on your level of LinkedIn account. But you can actually search LinkedIn without actually having a LinkedIn account and without being logged into LinkedIn. What you need to remember is that the vast majority of profiles on LinkedIn are actually public profiles. When individuals have set up the profiles, they've specifically said, I want everybody and anybody across the world to be able to view my professional profile. It's the most positive way of using LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, to be honest, actively encourages it because it helps to drive traffic towards their site through search engines. The more keywords and the more information that you've got available to the search engines, then more LinkedIn comes up within Google or Bing's search results, if they're the kind of two main search engines that we do recommend that you use. Because of that, you can actually search on LinkedIn search on Google. You can search LinkedIn from Google by using what we call an X-ray search. And what an X-ray search does, we target the X-ray search so that it's specifically only searching LinkedIn, and so that it's only specifically going to be finding a certain type of person. So I'm going to talk about a very brief example just now. I'll try not to make it too long, and I will make this example available to you all by email. So I can type in site, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in uk.linkedin.com, and that's because I only want to target profiles that are on the UK version of LinkedIn. I can change that UK to any other country. So if it was Germany, it would be DE. If it was France, it would be FR. If it was Ireland, it would be IE, etc. I can change that depending on the country that I want to find people from. The next thing I want to do is I want to tell Google that I only want to see LinkedIn profile pages. If I don't do that, then it's going to bring up a lot of pages that are irrelevant. And I don't want to see, I'm not interested in, so it'll bring up jobs pages, it'll bring up directory pages, that type of thing. So I'm just going to tell LinkedIn, actually, that I don't want to see, I only want to see pages that contain within the URL of the page either PUB, which is the abbreviation for a public profile, or in, which is another abbreviation for different types of profiles. The little horizontal line, little vertical line that I've used there that I've just highlighted, that means "or" when it comes to the language that Google wants you to type in. There's also a couple of things I just want to exclude from the search, so to make sure it's on the profile pages. So I do a minus, which is the equivalent of not on Google, and I'm just going to say in URL dir, because I don't want to see any pages contained, in the results that contain the phrase dir, because that's a directory page. But also there's some jobs pages that seem to be cropping up in the results at the moment as well. I'm just going to tell it, no, I don't want to see any pages that contain within the URL jobs too. So by doing that, that simple line of string that I've put in there, line of string's probably not the right phrase, but that's that simple line, means that Google is now only going to bring me back profile pages. After that, I can type in whatever I want. Okay, so if I did want to target, for example, in-house talent acquisition staff, then what I could do is I could type in talent business partner. And if it was in retail, then I could type in retail as the industry there. And type in, say it was in London, then I could type in London as a keyword. I'm just going to leave it as London. Keep it quite straightforward. I can hit Google search. This is now going to look, once I've hit Google search, it's now looking at all the publicly available LinkedIn pages that are available. Give it a second. And I can see there, it's brought me back 208 results of people, and we can see there straight away the first result is somebody called Liz Holland, who's the TA business partner at Monsoon. We've got Monsoon. What's a Monsoon? Results there coming up immediately for some reason. We've got, they're talking about store openings, talent acquisition. Some of the jobs pages are still coming up there. LinkedIn have changed some things in their pages, which means that some relevant results are sometimes coming up when we run these searches. So we just need to tweak it a little bit just to make sure that we're not getting any irrelevant results up. Talent acquisition specialist, retail. Okay, so and I can see all of these profiles without a LinkedIn membership, and I'll prove that. I'll just take this person for example. If I right click on this person and then do open link in incognito window, that means that I'm actually not logged into LinkedIn at the moment. It's opening up another page that isn't logged into any internet pages, and I can see that this person's profile is available. I can see most of the information that's there without even logging into LinkedIn. Okay, so we do find that a Google search, we as much as we do on our searches that we run for clients, we will do both a LinkedIn search and a Google search. We find the Google search is more powerful and more flexible, and actually a lot more powerful when you're being very, very specific. I could nail that down even further. I could, I could change that. Say I wanted to look at people, let's say private equity, people who've invested in retail from private equity firms, then I could type in, and I'm just going to keep this very simple as I'm conscious of time, but I could type in private equity, retail London, and that would start to give me leads, that would start to give me results of people potentially. Just trying to hit search there, Google's a little bit slow today. Give it a second. That would then start to talk about people who are investing in retail. So we've got the first result there, someone called Maria Gabriela Henderson, and she's a partner, head of private equity, NBS Group, investing in retail, leisure, consumer goods, fashion, luxury. And you can see that the first 3 results on that page, they're all individuals who are involved in that field and involved in it. So really powerful, and I'll make a copy of this search just now, and I'll make sure that can be sent to you at the probably later on in the day by my colleague Annie. The other site though that we do recommend that you search as well, apart from LinkedIn, is to take a look at Twitter. I'll take a look at Adam's Twitter page here. I'll go into his home feed and look at the amount of information that's contained there. Okay, some of the conversations are maybe not relevant at the moment, but a lot of them might be relevant to what you're looking at, and that's just Adam's feed alone. Okay, that's not actually looking at all of the other information that's being tweeted across the world or across the country. So we can do a Twitter advanced search to look at what people are talking about in other places. Just Google Twitter advanced search and it will take you straight to that page. Give me a second, I'll just move into that. And I can never remember the URL, I've always just got it bookmarked, but there we go. And you can see here that you can search tweets that aren't just in your own timeline, but are global or actually within certain locations as well. So I can search words, I can search people, and I can search places. So you could search specifically for tweets that have been sent from London or Glasgow or Edinburgh or Bristol or Manchester. And you can also do a date range and even a mood. Is it a positive tweet? Is it a negative tweet? Is it a question? That type of thing. So, but the Twitter advanced search is actually really good. It's very, very useful. The only thing it doesn't let you do though is search against biographies. If I wanted to search against specific people's Twitter bios, then what I need to do is actually use a tool called FollowerWonk. You can see that there, it's just followerwonk.com. And what I can do is click into that. I can then sign in, it's currently signed in as me as opposed to Adam. It doesn't really matter though. Sign in using your Twitter account. I can then click on search Twitter bio, and it lets me either search Twitter profile or search Twitter bios only. If I click on more options, then it lets me, like the Twitter advanced search does, it lets me be very, very specific, about the type of people. What's their location, what's their name, are they mentioning any particular URL, and even look at the strength of their profile by specifying, do they need to have a minimum amount of followers or followings, or a maximum amount, how many tweets, and that type of thing. There's some really good examples there. It gives you, it's a really nice interface. It's really easy to use. You get examples like CEOs, SEO, social media, most followers, oldest, and influence. So I could, run a search for chief executive, and I could do the location as London. I could change that to bios only. Really simple, really easy. See if it brings up any results. I have no idea whether it will or not, but I can see about 389 results there of people, and that's kind of filtering it down further by different keywords. So that's one way of finding people. Now, what you can then do is actually, once you've found people, is you can then start to segment them and categorize them by using Twitter lists. I'm just going to go back to Twitter a second, just to show you that. It means you can sort your contacts and keep a track of them. So it may be that you're specifically targeting, say, 4 or 5 different types of people. So you could set up 4 or 5 different types of lists. I'll just go into lists that are specifically talking. Now, Adam doesn't have any set up. It's because we manage our lists in a different way. But if I wanted to do that, create a new list. I say I wanted to do a list of chief execs in London. I type that in, create it, and then that means one that I find from my FollowerWonk search or from my general Twitter browsing, I can then add to that list, and I can go back to them. I don't need to follow them. I don't have to if I don't want to, but I know that they're there, and it means I can refer back to that when I need to. So that's two different ways, or really three different ways actually, of finding and managing different people that you find across LinkedIn and Twitter. As I said, it is the two sites that we recommend that you look at because of the sheer volume of information that you can find. Sites like Google Plus and Facebook, unfortunately, tend not to contain a massive amount of information, a massive amount of data that you can find. Google Plus is getting better, admittedly, but these two are certainly the best to start off with. I'll hand back over to Adam now for the next part.
Okay, thanks, Billy. I'm conscious of time. It's now 1:02, and this was a 30-minute session, so I'm just going to take 5 minutes. If you have to go, I completely understand. I'm just going to talk you through one very quick thing, and that is the best way to get connected with somebody and to start that conversation. So bear in mind what I said earlier, which was the two main reasons that somebody will accept your LinkedIn invitation is if they think you look useful or they think you look relevant. So if you can look both relevant and useful, then they're probably going to be quite likely to accept your LinkedIn invitation. This applies absolutely to Twitter as well. So if you find people that you want to communicate with on Twitter, follow them. The chances are, if your biog makes you look useful and relevant, they'll follow you in return. That creates an open communication channel, and you can send a direct message to that person. People often ask me, is that acceptable on Twitter? Yes, it definitely is. And especially for recruiters and HR people, they're absolutely happy to talk to people that look useful and relevant. So I'm just going to do this specific example that Billy's put up here already. So I'm a financial controller, let's say, and I'm looking to get talking to finance directors about my new opportunity. Let's stick with the retail industry. So bearing in mind, LinkedIn will show you the people, it'll show you specifically what you put in here. So I want to put in, to cover retail, I want to cover both supermarkets and retail industry. PQRS, supermarkets. In fact, let's just do supermarkets on its own. Okay, so I'm now going to just click search, and it'll bring up all the people that I want to talk to. Okay, so that search has unfortunately disappeared. Let's go to any second tier connections, and I'll show you how I would get connected with them. So if we look at second tier connections only, for some reason it's bringing up first tier connections. Let's go back 10 pages. Okay, it's still bringing up. So for the purposes of time, I'm just going to go into Twitter, and I'm just going to open up a tweet to show you the type of language that's going to work. In fact, I'll just do it in LinkedIn. To make sure that you look useful and relevant, here's the kind of language that you might want to say when you send that message to that individual. So you're sending an invite to connect, and I'm that financial controller looking for a new opportunity. So I'm going to say, dear John, I'm currently, when I say currently, that puts it into the person's mind that that's not permanent, that's not for the future, it's not always. I'm currently financial controller at Monsoon. There are a lot of interesting issues in retail finance. At the moment, we might have a useful conversation in the future, and I'd like to invite you to join my professional network on LinkedIn. Okay, I've done a few different things in here. I've made sure that I look both useful and relevant. I've said I'm currently financial controller at Monsoon. Financial controller at Monsoon, that person's finance director in retail. We've got things in common. We're relevant to each other. Currently, suggests that I might be interested in further opportunities in the future. There are a lot of interesting issues in retail finance at the moment, suggesting, again, usefulness. I might be able to share some of my perspective on these interesting issues. We might have a useful conversation. Again, useful. We might have in the future. It's not, can I come and meet you next week at 3 p.m.? It's much, much softer than that. And I'd like to invite you to join my professional network on LinkedIn, much softer than the default language, which is, I'd like to add you to my network on LinkedIn. Okay, so this is the kind of message that's going to really work for you. It's going to, or the people that you're working with, it's going to help them to build that influence that they need and get most people to relevant and useful to accept their LinkedIn invitation. From there, absolutely, the next stage is to take that relationship offline. Okay, so just very quick summary. The summary is, well, in fact, before that, there's a couple of resources. If you want to enhance your LinkedIn profile, here's a guide that we've got. It's an interactive tool. The website is socialmediasearch.co.uk/LinkedIn, and the password is helpwithllinkedin. And there's also a video on my LinkedIn profile, which you're welcome to go and take a look at, which shows you how to achieve influence on LinkedIn. A lot of the learnings on there are absolutely relevant to all social media. Okay, the summary is, you need to think clearly about the 2 or 3 things. What are the 2 or 3 things that will benefit you most? There's at least 100 things you can do on social media. The other 97 or 98, just ignore them, don't do them, and focus on the 2 or 3 that are going to get you the best benefit. Getting connected with the relevant people and starting conversations with them. I think that's probably the number 1 thing. You need a sustained effort. It's not going to happen for you in a week. You might be lucky and it does, but it's probably going to take a few weeks or a few months. So start as early as you can. And the final thing is, I absolutely believe that social media is the number 1 channel for making new contacts for whatever purpose, including career related. So thanks very much. Get in touch with me if you've got any questions. Adam Gordon at socialmediasearch.co.uk or Billy McDermott. You'll be able to work out how to spell that if you have used some of his tips on finding people. Billy McDermott at socialmediasearch.co.uk. Thanks very much. Bye for now.